This is Adventures in Queer Filmmaking, and our guest today is Lea Robinson. Lea Robinson is a queer, transgender, butch, gender nonconforming POC identifying actor and writer. Lea resides in Oakland, where they are active in both the theater world and film and TV. Lea is also a SAG actor and has representation in both LA and San Francisco. And they also love cats, scary movies, and video games. So we're going to get into it today. So Lea, thanks for joining me. I'm so glad to have you here.
It's fantastic to be here. Thank you so much. I'm honored. So stoked about this.
Well, you're a busy person, so we're just going to jump into it and get into it. You've been working on some great projects recently. Specifically, I'd love to hear you talk about 20s because it's making the rounds out there. It's created by Lena Waithe. And, I really think in terms of diversity and wanting to see the change that you want to see in the content that we consume and watch, it starts at that creator level. You need the behind the camera creatives just as well as the creatives in front of it. So maybe for people who might be new to the series, it's on Showtime. You could tell people about the character and maybe how you came to get the part.
Okay, great. Thank you. So 20s, I was able to get an audition for an amazing role of a reverend who had an integral role in helping two of the main characters kind of navigate some stuff, specifically around sexuality. So it ended up being a non-binary, trans-identified reverend. I was in 3 scenes, 2 episodes. I just had a great experience all around. It was from top to bottom. It was very inclusive, incredibly welcoming. I had an opportunity to actually speak with Lena on the phone, and that was just the best experience ever. And just, really kind of explore that level of work and that level of messaging. And to be able to be a part of that was so epic. I really believe in putting your heart in your art, right? Whatever it is that you're doing. And especially for the role in 20s, it was really powerful because I had an opportunity to really, really relate to that character and really think about my own religion and my own queer, trans, non-binary identity, and how powerful it is to walk in the world. And it was just such a great experience. It was a great experience. It was super welcoming. Pronouns were on point on set throughout the whole process. And then to actually see the work, was just unbelievable. It's weird. I got chills. I was watching the scene actually on television because I struggle sometimes watching myself on television, right? And or watching my work.
You're not calling up, hey mom, hey sis, yo, I'm on tonight. We got all watch, we got to support.
No, mom and dad are like, Lea, you watching? I'm like, okay. They're like, turn it on. But I was watching the scene and I just totally forgot I was in the scene. I was just watching it as this amazing moment on network television where these topics were coming into plain sight and we were talking about it. It was so incredible. So I was super grateful for that experience. And then I had a chance to be on B. Scott's after show. B. Scott, would interview some of the folks from the episodes. And I was able to talk a little bit about the importance of visibility in the industry as a Black, trans, non-binary identified person, how important it is for this visibility to be out there for younger kids, for people to see and be like, and know that, hey, it's okay. I'm doing exactly, I'm supposed to be here. There's someone in this world like me.
Well, so. And as just maybe queer people in general, we exist in the world. We can be more than one thing. So I love that you were able to bring a personal aspect to it in terms of your spirituality, which can differ from person to person, however they were brought up. So it's nice to see because, again, we are more than one thing. And I like to see that showcased in characters, complex characters.
Absolutely.
Even in the small write-up, if you go on to IMDb, the small write-up for 20s is something like a queer character and her 2 straight friends. Like I love that the straight friends are the sidekicks. They can be the cheerleaders right on back,
Exactly. And that doesn't happen. That rarely happens and doesn't really exist. So that's why it's so amazing and powerful. Yeah.
Well, that's great. As an actor approaching a role and becoming a character, you were asked to do something kind of dramatic. As an actor, I've seen you present a certain way. Could you talk a little bit about some of the things you had to do to physically become the character of the Reverend?
Yes, absolutely. I grew up in Kentucky. I grew up in a small town in Kentucky, and um, in a religious household. And I really had to create a backstory for the Reverend, first of all, where the Reverend was from, and I had some stuff in the script. It was beautifully written, and I had some information in the script, but a lot of the information I had to create for myself, and I had to really think about who the Reverend was. What's the Reverend's connection to religion? Oh, the Reverend is queer, trans, non-binary. So what about the Reverend's family? I came up with, like the Reverend's father was also a Reverend, and their relationship, and why love is so important. And the Reverend always comes from a place of love, and just how the Reverend carries themselves. And I started to really move through and carry myself in that way, and think about my own growth, my own childhood and religion, and my relationships with my parents, and what those connecting pieces were. Then I was able to just kind of grow it from there, and walk around like a Reverend, and talk to myself like a Reverend, and that carry that, that type of authority. And this idea of changing yourself for a role is super powerful. Some of them are those types of smaller nuances, right? Like, doing a backstory, kind of carrying yourself. You hear about a lot of people like going and staying in prison for a couple days, a couple of weeks to kind of get that feel, or like running with the fire department.
If you're Christian Bale, you're on set with your little bag of maggots, and you're like, I've been
exactly.
Like, all right, you do you. I'm gonna go have the chicken over here.
Exactly. I'm gonna go eat some chicken and potatoes. But I really, there was another role that I was getting ready for. I had this great audition. My manager got me this great audition for A League of Their Own, which is coming out here in another month or two. And the audition process was amazing. Went through it. It was pretty long, actually. I was shooting 20s while I was auditioning, and I had a couple of callbacks, a couple of things. And then at the very end of the process, my manager asked me if I would be willing to cut my hair. And I had locks for like 20 plus years, so this was like a lot of like
and they
time.
were beautiful. They were strong.
Yes, thank
proud.
you. They were green. They were gorgeous.
They looked great. Yes.
Thank you so much. And it was a really super spiritual thing with my locks. So when that question came, I called. I had to let her know like later that day. And I made some calls. I called my folks. I called my partner. I called my acting coach. I called my manager back and forth, and just made the decision that this was such an important role. It was such an important thing to be in the world, and such a challenging role, and something that I wanted to do. I'd prayed for, manifested for it. And I decided, I had a prayer about my hair, and decided that it was worth it, and I was going to do it. And before I cut it, I was trying to find a ritual to do. I'm just gonna be real talk, right? I was trying to figure out this ritual to do, and I couldn't figure out a ritual, and then I leave to go shoot, and I had to be there a little bit early so we could cut the hair, because we were gonna cut the hair there. So I'm out there, and I still haven't done a ritual. It's the night before, and I still haven't done a ritual. And I was supposed to wash and shampoo it the night before, so I was washing and shampooing it, and all of a sudden I just started crying. And then I was just like holding my hair and acknowledging it, and the journey and the spiritual connection. And then I was fine. And that ended up being the ritual for me in that moment. And I say that because as actors, sometimes there are things that we have to do, or we have an opportunity to do these things. And we have to make decisions. And as a couple of people told me, hey, Lea, your hair will grow back. They're like, I don't mean to be flippant about it, but it will grow back. And that was actually part of my journey and process, that spiritual thing. My hair will grow back. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. I want to tell this story. I want this story to be told, and I want to be the one telling it. So if I get to cut my hair to get this role, then let's go. And it was a beautiful moment. We cut it. I still have my locks. And it was just,
and keep a
I
little,
love
right?
having short hair. I love having short hair.
It looks good on you. You look
you.
good that way. I mean, both work, but I think it's great you were able to, become the character, and how the character had to walk and represent themselves. But I still think as an actor, coming to terms with that yourself, where you could say goodbye to maybe the old actor, and this was a new opportunity, like you said.
Absolutely. So many people were like, it's a new opportunity. It's a turning of a new page in your book. And that doesn't mean that it's the end of chapters or that it's the end of the book. It's the end of that moment. You turn the page and there's a new chapter there that the other chapters are going to be with you. Right. So it was like, it was a powerful moment for me, honestly.
You know,
And then I
I've always
decided,
had a soft spot for A League of Their Own. I remember seeing that when I was very young, and yeah, it's a great, female empowering movie, but it's also very white. So I'm very curious to see what
yeah,
the team that you were paired with,
yeah,
what and the actors that got to come together to make something new is
yeah,
going to be. I'm excited for
yeah.
it.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I think you're going to enjoy it. So.
Yeah, and so people can see that's through Sony and Amazon Prime,
Yeah,
right?
Amazon. Yeah, and it's the releases. It hasn't been announced when it will be released yet, so maybe in the next couple of months. So,
I'll be on the lookout for it.
right,
I'm always on the lookout. I want to see new things, new
let's
content.
go. Absolutely.
Well, shifting gears a little, you have had a really nice long career as an actor, but you're
Mhm.
also a writer. And I know recently you've been doing some great work with Three Girls Theater Company.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
based here in San Francisco. Just their mission on their website, if anyone wants to check them out, Three Girls Theater Company develops and promotes and presents new plays by women playwrights. But you know what? What I like is that they left it open to evolve, and that they're open to queer people, and that so that wording
yeah,
can change depending on the playwright that comes with the project that they're trying to share, that marginalized voices that haven't
yeah.
had a chance to get out there. They're definitely doing great work, and I'd love to hear about the project that you're working with them.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Tina Delia is someone that I work with over there, and Tina's just amazing. Tina's just amazing across the board. And I had this solo show, and Tina kept encouraging me, to continue to develop the show and to put it into the world, put a part of it out there anyway. So I joined this program that they had, which was, like really helping the writer to develop the work, get a dramaturg, just really develop it and put it out there, showcase it. So I was able to put it out there, and the solo show is called Syrup in My Shorts. I'm becoming an action hero.
That's a
Um,
great title, by the way. Very descriptive title. I'm on board. I want to know
it's
more.
out there, yes. And
Yeah.
it's just a solo show about my journey as an actor, journey as growing up in Kentucky as a kid who was queer and non-binary in a religious family in the middle of the country in the 70s. And just how I used to love television and movies because that was a way for me to escape and fantasize about a world where I could be who I was. I mean, I really felt like I was in the wrong body. I felt like this is not my body. I'm a little boy. Why is this happening to me? And it was just a really challenging, not that my parents loved me and were great and fantastic. And there are a lot of stories as a young person of navigating being a little Black queer person with friends and enemies and bullies and everything, and just how that was parallel to my love for acting, right? And then finally realizing that, hey, I can actually be an actor. I can actually be on the screen in ways that I didn't see when I was younger and needed to see. So, this story just follows, a childhood and then jumping into acting in all the ways that I was misgendered and auditioning for male roles, and just the journey of trying to do this as a queer non-binary person who doesn't fit, right? Who may
You know
not fit
what?
in Hollywood.
I feel like I definitely see the change in Hollywood, or at least in independent
Mhm.
films right now, where they're trying to showcase more
Yeah,
non-binary or more different people and different representations, which is
yeah.
great. But I think so often it's, oh, the non-binary character is an alien; they're from outer space. But what does that non-binary person look like? That and I think what just something that you bring as a person, you have a very great physical presence, and you're very proud and strong. And so just bringing that to whatever character is so important, because people latch onto that right away. They relate to that. And
Yeah,
so then that makes that character all that more real.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
curious, growing up, was there even not seeing the representation you wanted to see, but was there like a first movie where you're like, or I want to be that, or there was like a character that made you start dreaming and thinking, like, as an actor, oh, I want to be that.
Yes. Oh my goodness. What is the name of it? Just flew right out of my head. It was a karate movie.
Of course, of course. Let's
Um,
see. Uh,
and it had Shonuff was the one. Shonuff. He was like the villain. Oh my goodness. The Last Dragon.
oh, of course,
Last
yeah.
Dragon.
Bruce
Yes.
Leroy.
Yo.
I
I
mean,
was
we got
like,
all this,
whoa.
we got all this Cobra Kai stuff, and I've been seeing some memes going out for Bruce Leroy coming into the mix of just like, hey, what about Last Dragon? Yeah.
Absolutely. I love the soundtrack. I love the movie. Vanity was fine. So, I was fine with that. So that's probably one. And Star Wars, like when I was younger, those two, I remember going to the theater and just watching Star Wars, and those shows gave me like hope. Like I was gonna be on Star Wars. I could be a Jedi. I
Well,
could
you
have
know
these
what? When
powers, man.
Samuel L. got his lightsaber and he told George Lucas, "I make it purple,"
So
there was hope in the universe.
there was hope in the universe, homie.
I will go see Star Wars 100 because it's the fantasy. You want to see
Absolutely.
special effects, you want to see the spectacle, and every now and then we're getting more women swinging a lightsaber, which is great.
Rosario Dawson. Yo.
Oh, my heart beats for Rosario. I love
Man.
her.
Yo, for many reasons.
She's just so cool. So I'm
Yeah,
pretty loyal. I will see her in anything.
me too.
But no, that's that fantasy, the elements of, and it brings me, when I think about, like, one of the reasons I love genre so much in terms
Mhm.
of telling queer stories, LGBTQ stories, it just, it lets you dream. And when I think about movies that have stayed with our consciousness ever since we were young, I'm waiting for that, that lesbian Back to the Future, or that queer Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
Yes.
just that genre is what stays with you. And it's great to have the drama, it's great to have the period pieces,
It
but
is.
I don't know about you, after this pandemic, I don't want to be sad. I don't want
Me
to,
either.
I need some escapism.
Me too. I'm with
Yeah.
you. I'm with you.
But thinking about horror as a genre definitely lets you have that escapism and finding those heroes. I'm
Mm.
curious, what now, I know you're an avid horror fan, and you're
Love it.
sometimes watching those horror films in the middle of the day with your cats.
Yes.
So what's the latest horror film that you watched that you can give a shout out to, of you had a good time, you like the story, maybe there was some queer representation? Anything come to mind?
Hmm. I I'm trying to think of the queer piece.
There's been some
Um,
interesting shows that have queer characters that just kind of sneak in. And
yeah.
I don't know if you've been watching Yellow Jackets, but oh my God, Yellow
Yes.
Jackets.
Yes, that's the one. It's great to see Juliette Lewis just back on the big screen. You
Oh
know,
yeah, Christina Ricci too. Christina Ricci's crazy. Her
I
character.
know.
Let's preface this. Her character is crazy, and I love it. Missy is crazy.
Brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. I don't know, but something I did try to watch last night. So I have this thing around found footage horror movies,
Hmm.
and I was trying to watch paranormal activity. And I've watched one before during one of my 10 nights of frights somewhere down the road.
Hmm.
But I was trying to watch last night because I kind of shied away from those because they really scare me. And then someone I was talking to was like, Leah, have you watched? And I was like, no, not yet. And last night I was like, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna record it. I'm gonna have a whole, like taking y'all with me. And yo, something weird happened with my computer. It shut off, but the movie kept playing. And it was
Oh,
like, dun, 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 and I had to shut everything down in here and finish up for the night.
the ghost of
So
the machine.
exactly, I still want to finish it, but I was a little bit shook. But I will finish it. But I
Okay.
kind of like the found footage stuff, like this group goes into the haunted house and is never seen again, kind of thing, or the haunted asylum and vanishes.
Sometimes the simplest premise works. You just need the setup. You need the setup and the characters, and like, if you like the characters, you're going to go along for the ride.
Right.
And if they happen to
No,
be queer characters, all the better. I'm going to like them even more,
exactly.
because they can't kill
Exactly.
all of them. There's like, whenever they introduce a queer character, you're just waiting. I don't know if you watched the new Scream. We're not
Yes.
going to get into spoilers here, but the new Scream
Oh,
has a queer character, and I was concerned for her safety.
mhm.
I was
From
like,
the
I
jump,
was
you were like,
checking
oh
my,
no.
I was like, what's going to happen to her? So I know we got the legacy characters in this new Scream, but I was definitely concerned about the new queer characters.
Yo, when are we gonna go into a haunted place and shoot some video, man, and see what happens?
You know, you and I have this back and forth, and we're always trying to get a project going. One
We
day,
really are. Let's
one
go,
day we'll
man.
try and get something going. I'm still
I'm
trying to
down.
get my Ghost of Stowe Lake movie off the ground, and through QuagMap, I got a small little grant. I'm going to do a short to do my proof of concept this year.
Nice.
Because that was
Congratulations.
the
That's
bigger
awesome.
project that once COVID hit, I couldn't do
Yeah.
safely. I couldn't do it safely. And so I was like
Yeah.
reconceptualizing that project. But
I
in terms of
appreciate it.
going into the haunted history of San Francisco, it's such a rich haunted city. There's
Yeah.
so many ghosts in San Francisco.
Yes.
You know,
I'm trying to spend the night in one of those hotels, those haunted hotels, and just like keep the camera rolling all night.
there you go.
Just
I'd
saying.
watch that. Yeah.
All right.
You
I'll
gotta
talk
bring your
about that.
gotta bring your cat with you.
I know, right?
Because the animals always know. The animals can tell you
Animals,
what's up.
yes. They'll
Yeah.
let you know when it's off the hook. They'll let you know it's time to run. It's time to go.
Have you seen the movie? It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes this last year. It's from the French director Julia Ducournau, and I'm probably mispronouncing her name, but she came on the scene. Her debut feature was Raw, and it was a really kind of coming of age movie around veterinarian student, and she gets a taste for human blood.
Yes.
And so this new one is called Titane, and there's a lot of gender bending body horror going on. And I saw it in the theaters. I dragged my mom to see it. I was like, oh, it's this French movie. It won an award. Have you heard of this one, Titane?
I haven't.
Well, very loose and simple premise. Woman has sex with a car, gets pregnant. And then there's like 3 different storylines. So I mean, this whole car conception happens in the very beginning of the movie. We're not giving much away here. And then the movie still goes crazy bonkers. And I'd be curious to know what you think.
I'm gonna check that out.
To check it out.
Absolutely. It's called Titane.
Titane. Titane.
Got it. Okay.
But it's a very bizarre movie. The sexuality presented in it's very fluid, and the character does go, the genders, because the character, there's a storyline where they need to hide their identity. And so they go from being the kind of vivacious car model to presenting themselves as a lost man who's grown up, who's a lost child, to cover their identity. So there's a lot going on in the movie, and it's a bag of tricks for sure. It's
okay. I'm here for it. I'm gonna check it out. I'll let you know.
Yeah, you let me know what you think. You might have to watch, like you said, you might have to watch it with your cat.
They'll be down for that.
But with some of your other projects that you're doing in terms of like really great representation, I'm always telling people, film in the Bay, film out here. There's so many talented people out here, and you've been working on a project for a while. I was lucky enough to help out with the first season, and it's called Chosen Fam. Maybe you could, for some people who maybe only got a glimpse of this awesome series during the festival circuit, and I know you guys are going into season 2. Tell them a little bit about it, what they can look forward to it, and maybe your character specifically.
Yeah. So Chosen Fam is an amazing project. It is one of the queerest, most diverse projects I've been a part of in a long time. And the premise is just a group of friends here in the Bay Area who are like a couple of them are in a band. So they're in a band together, but the point of view or the perspective moves outside of their friendship and them in this band to like their partners and their lives. So we really get to see, like not only them as a band, but also, like what's happening in their lives outside of that. And Maddox is the name of my character, and I'm one of the older band members. And that's another thing I like about it, is it kind of has a couple different ages represented, right? We're talking about, like how these things, how queer, trans, brown, femme, all these different types of identities move through the world and move through like the world generationally, etc. So it's just a really great story about these band members and some of the things that are happening in their lives outside of, the struggles of being a band. And and making it as a band. It's all shot here in the Bay Area. It's been amazing to do that, to see a lot of the places in the Bay that I've never seen before. Coffee shops to, outdoor spaces. It's been fantastic. But Maddox's story, as you know, Maddox and his partner want to have a baby. I don't want to give up too much of it, but there's a lot happening there with, trying to have this child and not having money and not being able to get pregnant. There's just a lot of things that are happening that are really pushing their coupleship, and in the first season or so, we kind of saw them kind of like having a hard time and not parting ways, but just struggling. And now we're working on some more love between those two, right?
I'm all for more queer love. I want to
You know
see.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, when I was, I just recently finished my first feature, and just in thinking about what I wanted to see and what I wanted to represent. Yeah, any of the intimate scenes that we're seeing, it's joyous love. Because there's nothing worse than watching a queer movie and it's like, oh, it's just the saddest lovemaking scene, and it's like,
Right.
if you're not having fun, it's not a good scene. Let's get out of that scene.
Cut.
But yeah, I feel like people need that. They need that light and love right now,
We
and
need that right now.
yeah, and I feel like Chosen Fam is really, people have been waiting for it. I know they're hungry for that content, so I'm really glad that you guys are getting to do season 2.
Yeah,
I'm looking
we're
forward to
actually
seeing your
shooting.
character evolve.
Yeah, we're getting ready to shoot some next month, so
That's awesome. Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
And again, I hope it either gets the distribution it's looking for, or I feel like you have enough love from the community just in the making of it that get the project out, let people see it, let people see the work,
Let people see the work.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that, we had talked a while back about you'd been working on, and I got to see like the early draft of this, and I'm curious if it's if you've continued developing it. But you were dipping your toe into genre, and it was around queer security guards, and a night shift that goes wrong, and there's some mystery and some creatures. Maybe what's up with that project? How's that going?
Yeah, so that project's going really, really, really well. It's called Night Guards, and you're right, I've been working on this project for a long time, and it's a feature film, and it came about from me just really wanting to see the work that I want to be a part of, right? Like we always want to see this work, and it's hard to be a part of this work, or maybe nobody's making it. So we have to try to figure out how to make it ourselves. So that's where I was inspired by folks like yourself and other people out here making work. And it's really grown a lot. I've taken this script to Stowe Story Lab, which is over in, not Vermont, it's over in the East Coast. Folks go to Stowe Story Labs, and it's just something that helps writers, right? So it has like different writing retreats, and they bring in a lot of folks to come in and listen to your work and help you with your pitch and take a look at your script and give you some notes. And it's just this really like amazing experience where you can really take your work there and really get some support, right? And other artists and writers around you. So it's really supportive. So I took took Night Guards to that as a project and got a lot of really great feedback and some excitement about it. So then they just recently launched this program, and it's called Stowe Launch. And it's where they select a couple of filmmakers and help them get their work out there, help them get their films out there, like looking at the script, the rewrites, then meeting with the line producer, like just really kind of throwing us into that world of thinking about how much you need, what's the budget, who talk to a casting director. What do you need to know about casting this project? What do you need to know about how much this project's going to cost, and what can you get away with? So we've been deep into that with Night Guards, and I'm really excited that we're in the process now. Some folks have asked to read it, and getting it read and getting it out there. But it's a great story about two queer, gender nonconforming people of color. One person's in their 40s. One of the characters is an older, identified person, and the other character is a little bit younger, and they're just navigating life. They're navigating life, trying to figure it out. They're working this job because they need a job to pay the bills, but their hearts are really in their art, and like acting and creating work, but their work, they're doing what we have to do. We have to grind, we have to hustle, we have to make those ends meet and have a job sometimes. But the story just follows them at their night guard's job. They have to, do a night shift one night, and all hell breaks loose. There is a spill in the basement in the labs. A bunny rabbit gets a little bit on it, and then there are zombies. They're killer bunnies.
Throw the zombies in there.
Everything.
Sprinkle a zombie. Yeah.
A little sprinkle of this. And what inspired me was because this show is really about a friendship between the two main characters, right? Like one has top surgery and is trying to figure out how to get more top surgery, if they should go all the way with the top surgery and maybe hormones. And the other one is like not really there for them in the ways that they need them to be there for them. So their friendship is struggling. But what inspired me was the show Insecure.
That's a great show. I'm kind of mourning the fact that we got 5 seasons and now we had to say goodbye.
I don't think they're gonna, how some people like come back.
I'd take a spin-off show with the brother. I always like the brother character.
Me too. I want to see more of the brother, actually, to be honest with you.
But good characters. Yeah.
All great characters. But in the beginning, The Misadventures of an Awkward Black Girl was the web series.
Yeah.
And I loved that web series, and just to watch that show. So between that show and Shaun of the Dead is the energy and tone of Night Guards, right? It's about these friends. And there's some funny, like timing and tone, and they're kind of funny, but there's the serious stuff that's happening too. And Insecure, the music, the highlight of the community. We're shooting it in Berkeley. So, we want to really kind of highlight some of Oakland, because that's where the two characters live. Mm-hmm. So kind of highlight Oakland and also Berkeley. That's where the lab is located. But it's going to be shot in one location. It's like everything's happening in this lab on this night. And there's some espionage going on. There's some, like foolishness going on. And it's just a funny story with the focus on this friendship. And
I'm glad to hear you're still moving the needle on that. And, shout out to any producers, anybody who wants to help out with creative projects. You got to hit me up.
Let's go.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like, I'm glad you're still working on it. If it gets to the point though, it's great to be pitching people, but at some point, and I got to this point myself, I pitched for like a whole year. And I was like, I'm tired of waiting. Let's go. There's an opportunity. And it was, make it or it doesn't get made.
All right. That's good. Yeah. Because sometimes you just have to go, just have to make it or it's not going to get made. That is so.
And it sounds like you've already done the hard work where you're sharpening up the script. You're making sure those characters are tight, they're meaningful. You're hitting every beat and the story beats. And you definitely sound like you have a good vision for it. So yeah, I definitely want to see this project come to life in some way.
Let's go, man. I'm ready. Let's go.
No, I'm glad to hear that's coming along. That sounds really great. And I want to see more projects coming out here in San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley. The cities themselves are just so rich with character that more projects need to be made out here.
Let's go. I'm here for that. I'm here for it.
And also just your journey as an actor. I know you're a SAG actor now, but maybe can you talk a little bit about the journey to becoming SAG eligible, and what was that like for maybe a young actor coming up? What were the things that you had to do? Maybe concessions you had to make on parts you didn't really want to take, or maybe it was you were offered parts, but you said, no, it's not the representation I want to represent.
Totally. Everything you just said was spot on. And when I think about being SAG, I think about the decision to do it or not to do it. And being here in San Francisco, a lot of folks were like, don't become SAG up here, because, there's not a lot of SAG work here. It was like, there's every time you look for something is non-union. And I still wanted to do it because I still feel like, SAG opens a lot of doors. It opens a lot of doors that, weren't open before I was a part of the union. So that was just a huge decision that I had to make. I had to make this decision around, I'm still living in San Francisco. I'm in the Bay Area, I'm not sure if it's going to help me or harm me to have SAG in the Bay Area. But then I got a manager in LA. And I have an agent here in San Francisco, and I just recently got an agent in LA as well. But with a combination of agent here and a manager in LA, it's actually worked out. It's actually worked out. And to anyone who's like debating on, like whether or not to do it, honestly, it was a good move for me because it again has opened a lot of doors that were not open to me before. A lot of doors that are like, like SAG only, or, we won't even get in the door if you're not SAG, right? So that's been helpful. But it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine and they were also SAG and living up here. And they were so upset. They were just like, man, I'm just pissed off. Every time I look at something, it's non-union, it's non-union, it's non-union. San Francisco is blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? And there's room for all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's important that there are non-union roles for folks who aren't SAG. It's like,
well, it's like you said, the hustle is real. You're out here grinding. And you know what? It's about the project that gets you to that next project. So that non-union project might get you recognized by somebody who can put you in the position that you're currently in.
Absolutely.
You never know.
You never know. And you can get into a project that everybody has to be SAG, uh-oh, let's go.
and let's say another thing. Because non-union doesn't necessarily mean you're not getting paid.
Right.
It just might mean non-union. So you got, as an actor coming up, as a writer or director, you have to value yourself and your time. And if you're going to be a part of a project, as long as they're, giving you a, kind of a fair day rate, and saying to you, I value your time, you're a part of this collaborative process, then that's great. Then it's great to work on a non-union project.
Exactly. Because I've worked on some non-union projects that, I was working with these projects before, before I became union. And it feels like there is no difference when you're on set. To me, my experience, it didn't feel, if anything, it felt amazing, inclusive, supportive. Like I wanted to be on that set as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think it's for each person. I think that if someone is weighing between those two, just really thinking about what your goals are, you know what I'm saying? And where you want to be, set out some time and figure out where you want to be in that amount of time. Keeping in mind that, yeah, you're right. There's some non-union projects that will get you union, right? But just like really thinking about like what you want and what's of value. And I do think though, again, that SAG provides some things that I didn't have before. You know what I'm saying? Security, opportunity to get into the places that I wasn't able to get into. And, SAG is a union. So, SAG takes care of you in the way of watching your back, watching out for actors, watching out for everybody involved, and just making sure things are square. It seems like, from my experience.
Well, and specifically with doing television or series work, those residuals, who knows, a rainy day, it might come in handy. You never know. You never know.
You never know. So it's important to have someone that the union that's like, supporting you, providing healthcare if you qualify for it, those types of things, because it's
yeah, things happen. It's like whatever universe or a higher power above, they know when you're on your last $100 and then your car goes out and it's like, oh, really? You knew I was saving that 100 for something. Well, I didn't want to go get my car fixed,
Exactly. I think it's just faith and trust, like meditate on things, decisions. That's how whether it's roles or whether it's whatever it is, it's like manifesting what I want, meditating on, okay, I need to figure this out. Am I going to do this or am I going to do that? And just listening and not being afraid to say no to something. And you know what? Don't get me twisted. I have not been in a position to be able to say no. I've had a couple of things that have come down the pike that I'm like, that's not in integrity with what I'm doing right now. It's like visibility is important. And this, if I do this, it's a counter to everything that I believe in and that I work towards. So I'm not going to do that. That's scary to say no to things when you are trying to make it happen. So even with those types of things, just, manifesting, meditating, if that's your thing, creating lists, pros and cons, if that's your thing, and just, figuring it out. It's part of it.
Keeping that side hustle until you don't need that hustle anymore, having that day job, being maybe a weekend actor or filmmaker until you can make it your full-time thing. We all have to do what we have to do, and it makes us stronger. It makes us better.
It really does. It really does. I've had my foot one foot in acting and one foot out of acting, one foot in acting and one foot in the, the world of 9 to 5, my whole career, right? And I do diversity work. I've worked for different organizations that help schools, police departments, sets become more inclusive. And once you are more inclusive, then how do you make sure people feel welcome and you're not, explicit bias, implicit bias, microaggressions, these things aren't running rampant, right? How do you know that they're happening, face them, interrupt them? That's the work that I do. And I was working for an organization full-time. When I say full-time, I mean like ridiculously full-time, right? And this A League of Their Own came, and I was just like, I always knew I'd know when it was time. I'd have one foot in and one foot out, do the best I can, grind because I need to do that until I can make it work. And this moment came, and I was just like, and then I was asked to choose because I was going to be away for a while, and I made a choice. It was a no-brainer for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to go.
And maybe that's when you lean on your partner or your friends and family. Yes. And that's what they're there. That's what the support is in for, Yes.
And we don't always have that support. I know it's a huge privilege to have that support. But I don't know. I just feel like if we can if we can go through some sort of process to make a decision and trust ourselves, then that can help a whole lot, and I'm grinding now. I'm, launching a business and trying to hustle and.
Well, let's jump off from there. How can people find and support you and support your projects?
Yes, totally. I'm trying to get better at Instagram. I'm trying to get better. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, mostly on Instagram. I don't even know how to do TikTok, but I'm trying to do TikTok, right? Yeah. I'm trying.
Doing some dances with your cat. What's the TikTok content look like?
No, it seems like it could work, but I just can't figure it out. I need a teenager or something to just take over for me and figure it out. But you can find me on Instagram. My email address, my website, Lea Robinson Actor is my website. lrobbie30@gmail.com is my email address. Just find me. Because
we'll give them the tag. What is it? Butchie's doing things.
Okay, so
what's the tag?
Hold on, let me,
I'll let you pull it up so we can let people know. Give that shout out.
Give me that shout out. Yes. All right. So it's my computer's like, no, whatever you're trying to.
Of course, technology.
Absolutely not. Okay, so my Insta is okay, it is LE_Robinson_.
All right.
LE_Robinson_.
Yeah.
All right. So hit me up, because look, here's the thing. If you hit me up, I'll respond, because it's like, we got to help each other in this work. If there's anything that I can ever help you figure out or understand or just listen or whatever, I'm here to do that. I'm happy to do that. I may not have all the answers, but I will try to help us both get to the answers. So just know that, I am a resource in this industry. Folks.
I think people appreciate that. It's good to be open and have that generosity, because just paying it forward helps people. So we're going to end on a couple fun notes, just because I know you're a horror buff. What is your favorite horror movie? Any horror movie, comedy, subgenre? What's your favorite?
Definitely the creature features. Definitely aliens. I'm really, really, really into the found footage stuff right now. I'm really into that right now.
I mean, you know what I like about the found footage is I don't care if something bad has happened to that nice little white couple. Until they get a little diversity in there, I'm all for, get Mick and Sally. Get them.
Yeah, go on in there.
I'm always like, if they have a dog, don't let nothing happen to the dog.
No.
If I'm watching a Guillermo del Toro movie, I know he's going after the dog and children. So
you know it.
But
I'm a huge American Horror Story fan too, though. Those types of twisted.
Do you have a favorite season?
Oh, The Witches, definitely.
Oh yeah, Coven.
Coven, yes. And then there was the one, Kubrick. What was the one where they were out on the island off the East Coast?
Was it the Apocalypse one?
No, the one before that one. I can't remember, but
There's too many. It just shows you there's too many right now.
I don't think there's none. I don't have any that I don't like. I love the hotel in LA. I mean, it's all good. It's all good. American Horror Story, period. That's my jam.
All right, there you go. Well, I appreciate your time today, and I love how generous you've been with your stories. I hope people hit you up and support you, and I'm going to be looking forward to those shows. I can't wait to see your new work.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
All right, well, you take care, and I hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for your time.